Interesting. Well, not just that, but I mean, you have a bunch of people. What the hell?
The camera.
I had to push it
Oh,
back.
you pushed it back? I was like, my exquisite composition is just suddenly what is this? What is up here?
That's the widescreen version.
Yeah, right. So excuse us, live people. I have to slide this down a little bit here. Nope, still not good. Hope that's really trippy for all of you. Hello, welcome. This is Fatjack's Comicrypt. I'm a guy. That's another guy with the real star here. Bam, this guy. Zanin. Hi, folks. He's not in the chat right now. He is the show.
That's it. It is the chat.
Zanin is he just dominates it.
Rush it.
Yeah, it just runs it.
And I apologize in advance if I'm blocking any of these Barry Windsor Smith Conan books.
Yeah.
And nobody's here to buy anything.
Yeah, what are you talking about? We'll get into it in a minute once we do some business and stuff like that. But yes, Zanin is right. We have some Conan books. We've got some fantasy masterpieces. Pretty much reprints of some of the Silver Surfers we had a couple weeks ago. We got some fun little books up there if anyone wants to see booby cleavage. We got Lady Vampire in the Flesh. We also have some sweet 90s nostalgia with Ben Reilly and the Clone Saga and Scarlet Spider. We got some funny little stuff up here. We'll get to all that. What's wrong?
No, it was Lady Vampire. More was looking for those.
Oh, so he wanted.
He never said, but I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah, just pull him aside.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case. Because again, he's a good dude. I want to make sure he gets the books he wants. Okay, so real quick, before we Zanin is here from the New York Comic Con this weekend, so hopefully we'll have a couple opportunities to pick your brain, see how the experience was and all that kind of stuff.
Cool deal.
Yeah, but before we get into that, of course, if you see anything up here already and you want to claim it, or you have any questions or anything of that nature, hit us up in the chat. Al will kind of maintain that, because first what we have to do is a little bit of house cleaning, or what I sometimes not jokingly refer to as the business, which is the fact that we are a claim sales show, or whatever the term is. So everything up here is for sale, except Zanin's body, anything that I'm wearing, and no, you're not allowed to have Al's beard. Okay, so now that we've gotten those three elements off the board,
Everybody left.
oh, damn, I can never tell what people are showing up for.
As soon as you said Zanin's body.
You know what? Maybe we should start an OnlyFans account. Yeah, he knows. This guy knows what I'm talking about. He's a freak. But if there's any books up here you want to claim and you want to purchase, please hit us in the chat. Be as descriptive as possible, because sometimes, again, we have a bunch of Conan the Barbarians up there. Just saying Conan's not going to really help us. And again, the experience, they have a really nice kind of timestamp and everything. So if multiple people try to claim the book at the same time, it will benefit you if we know exactly what you're talking about. Now, we are here in the Philadelphia area. We also have a shop over in Oakland, New Jersey, right across the bridge. So for anybody who has access to our Philly shop and you claim anything here tonight, we'll have it here behind the register for you. You can come pick it up. Or if the Jersey shop is more in your neck of the woods, we will send that book over, or any of those books over, for you to pick them up there. If you are outside of the area and you need us to ship the books, if you have shopped with us before, we've shipped before, hopefully we have your contact information and your shipping information. Al can send out all of the invoices and stuff like that. But if this is your first time, we're going to need you to contact us. Email us at fjccshow@gmail.com. That's how we're going to get your contact and your shipping information. Shipping, it's First item kind of starts at a base $7. After that, as more items are added to the order, the shipping will go up. But again, we will do our best to try to keep the shipping costs as low as possible, to make it convenient for everybody. Even though it's been a little not with the same energy this past week because of technical issues, which if anyone watches our local show, it seems technical issues is our brand. But my phone's been dying, and most of the Instagram page is run from my phone. But if you've never checked us out on Instagram, Fatjack's Comicrypt, we are at the FJC Paradox. We always have little kind of images, things of that nature, and more importantly, if we have any big books, key books, things of that nature leading up to each Sunday show, the Instagram page is usually where those books will be first promoted and stuff like that. Let me think. Am I forgetting everything else?
If any questions, just hit up. I can't interact in the chat, but we'll verbally acknowledge you. For any questions for anybody, Brendan, Zan.
Yeah, please ask Zane any questions away. Again, this man was just hanging out in the New York Comic Con, so we're gonna pick his brain. But again, I always have to remember, Mike is not paying us to just sit here and enjoy each other's company. So I want everyone to be aware that, yes, all of these books here are for sale, okay? And we will get to them, and as I kind of point them out and stuff, maybe we'll figure out a way to kind of bullshit a little bit while showing off some books. Also, maybe we'll get to some bundles tonight. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll kind of play it by ear, have some fun. Please, if anything, hang out with us, have the game on in the background, and just chill with us. And we'll try to have fun, something along those lines. Yes. All right. So really quickly before we kind of get into some more social elements of the show, let me quickly point out we have a bunch of Conan up here. This is the last sort of past few shows. We've had some big key Conan books, a la Conan #1. We had the first appearance of Red Sonja. We had some really epic Barry Windsor Smith kind of issues and stuff. So these books up here is still within the Barry Windsor Smith run era. And then this is some later stuff with John Buscema. Okay? Let us just quickly, and please, Zainin, if you have any comments or anything you want to point out, just interrupt me, talk over me, whoever it has to be, because at this point, I'm pretty sure you are the runaway star of this, and you are leaving Al and I in the proverbial dust. So really quickly, let's show off a few of these Conan books. We have Conan issue number 9. This is a fine minus cover at $16, The Garden of Fear. And then we have Conan number 11, The Talons of Thak. Conan the Barbarian number 11. This is a very good plus copy at $16. Some pretty iconic Barry Windsor Smith art.
That's actually a double-size issue. That was from November 1971 when Marvel just jacked up all of their books. They were all double-sized. I used to think it was for the 10th anniversary of Fantastic Four.
Okay.
But it was a marketing ploy to force DC into a bind where they jacked up their prices because DC's books were 25 cents at the same time.
Okay.
They were also like 48 pages.
Okay.
Marvel did that for 1 month, and then they lowered the price to 20 cents, leaving DC holding the bag for 25 cents a copy.
Marvel as a corporate entity is I don't want to disparage anybody.
Was it like 40 pages of story, or was it backup stuff?
Actually, it was like 34, 35 pages worth of story. Okay. And for a while, I was trying to get all the Marvel books from November 1971 because some of them were like beautifully illustrated.
Okay.
Neil Adams, he did Avengers 93. That was part of the Kree Skrull War.
That was, yeah, I think we even had that issue.
John Romita did Captain America 143.
Okay.
Gil Kane, Spider-Man 102.
Nice.
And they were all 34 pages.
102 is first appearance of Morbius?
Actually, I think it was part of that storyline.
Okay.
101 was...
101 is first Morbius, and then, okay. Oh, number 2 is when Spider-Man's got the 6 arms, right?
Well, yeah, actually that was 100, but it's still part of the same story.
Right. We actually had Amazing Spider-Man 100 at one point. You're right. And I never knew that the six-armed story was part of Morbius's introduction.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. That's now DC at the time. Was that when they were doing like Superman Family or Detective became like Batman Family? Were they doing those oversized?
No, it was like every book, and you might be able to see some of them in the back issues, like Mr. Miracle, New Gods, Forever People. I mean, they were all 48-page books, and it would have 25 pages of new content, and the backup would be a reprint.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
But
more often.
DC was trying to monopolize the market, so to speak.
Okay.
Like price-wise.
Okay, so Marvel was kind of like screwing with them, but in a good way.
Yeah. Like the ultimate screw came when Marvel dropped their price to 20 cents. And DC was still 25 cents.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of people, well, what are you going to pay? 25 cents for a book or 20 cents for a book?
How long had DC been doing that? Like as far as raising the prices up? Is it like a year-long thing, or
it was a little bit under a year.
Okay.
And by the time they dropped down, they followed suit with Marvel and went to 20 cents, but the damage had already been done. And to this day, they didn't recover.
God, man, it's too funny. Hey, I guess Marvel they pulled it out. This isn't Barry Windsor-Smith, right?
No, that's a Gil Kane cover.
Gil Kane, yeah.
I believe Barry Windsor-Smith did the interior.
Still did the interior, yes. Conan the Barbarian, issue number 12. This is a very good plus copy at $12. Oh, it's a take a drink a book. Issue 12, priced at $12. Boom! Kick one back. Now this one's in a very good condition, which is why it's valued at $30. This is Conan the Barbarian, number 13, very fine copy at $30. Web of the Spider God. And then we have, what is this? Hawks from the Sea, Sword versus Sorcery in a Timeless Time.
That's actually a gorgeously illustrated issue. By 1972, Barry Windsor-Smith, he was on a different level altogether.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny when you see the evolution of his artwork, because when you look at that, like, the early X-Men stuff that he did, and even some of the very early, it's kind of like slightly better Don Heck. Like, it's definitely not what you would think is, but I guess the moment he got the Windsor, he just took another step.
Yeah, and it's a good analogy because he evolved as an artist from 1968, 1969 to 1972.
Yeah.
He was just like, he was on a pro level.
Now, are you saying Don Heck devolved? No.
I mean, you can see it. You can see
with all due respect to Don Heck.
What do you do, like 20, 25 issues of Conan?
Yeah, about,
I think it was like
20 plus,
24.
$20.
Yeah, flip through the first issue, flip through like the 20th.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can see them.
A huge, yeah, you're absolutely right. And the last of the it's Barry Smith. Sometimes he has the Windsor, and sometimes he's still.
I don't think he obtained his middle name until after he left Marvel.
Okay.
When he went back to England.
Oh yeah, and got an English accent like Madonna. Yeah. Conan the Barbarian, number 21, very fine minus copy at $20. Winner of the comic book industry's own Academy Award for Best Comic Mag. And the funny thing is, they don't actually name you what the award is. They just want you to know that it's comic book industry's version of the Academy Award.
Yeah, it was called the Academy of Comic Book Arts.
So supposedly he went to the UK because he got cancer.
Oh, really?
So say it's Mr. Barucci.
He got canceled?
He got cancer. Like
Cancer.
He went
Wow, I did not know that.
To fight cancer.
Wow.
Is he English?
Yes.
He is English.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, in fact, in early part of his career, he was supposed to take over on Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. In 1969, I believe it was.
Well, there was that one issue that he did do.
Well, that was supposed to be the beginning of his run. But his green card ran out, and he was like in danger of being deported, so he had to go back to England.
Ah, that's funny. Okay. All right.
We got a comment from We got a comment from Mike. I was going to give you some kind of title, Mike. I'm not going to do that. I guess when DC raised from 10 to 12 cents, they put an apology letter in each issue.
Really?
Like they printed an apology on the inside front cover of the DC titles.
You know what's so funny? You ever notice when Zane he has such like a boisterous laugh that the camera shakes.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't laugh, man. I'm telling you, it's a lot more fun than watching me freak out and have a like a little baby like temper tantrum.
I mean, it's slightly more fun.
All right, real quick, in the John Buscema era, we're going to jump from like the early 20s all the way to issue 100. This is Conan the Barbarian, issue 100, very fine copy, $8. This is also the issue of the death of Belit. Belit?
Yes.
Yes. The Queen of the Black Coast. So yes, that is that issue there. And then we have Conan 111, a very fine plus copy at $4. Wall of Flame and Fury. And then we have The Siege of the Bear God. There we go. Conan 112, high grade, very fine near mint at $5. Again, this John Buscema, man. It's really good. Is it Rubenstein? Who was an anchor? Rubenstein.
Oh, I can't think of his first name, but he was one of the crusty bunkers.
Which one's the 112? 23? Yeah.
Joseph Rubenstein.
Joseph Rubenstein. 23? I don't have a 23.
All right, don't worry.
21?
So 23. There's no number 23. So if you want a 21, let us know.
There's a 21. Sorry, we were like kind of talking when I kind of said the 21, which is a very fine minus $20. So, Joseph Rubenstein. Oh, I remember that name. Hey guys, did you know Satan had a son? I think his name is Son of Satan, right? Do you think the editors are just like, yeah, whatever, just
Yeah, Marvel 1970s was anything goes. You know, it wasn't whether or not it's a good idea. It's just creatively, this is what we should do.
This is what we're gonna do. Yeah, 1980. This issue is from. A very fine plus at $4. And then issue 114. This is not. Oh, Ernie Chan. This is the Ernie Chan kind of stuff. I wonder if he was doing the interiors at this time, or if he was just.
Well, he was doing a lot of work on Savage Sword.
Okay, very fine plus $4. Issue 114. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's the Toys R Us shopping spree that I bet nobody ever won, but I always so desperately wanted to win as a young child. Conan the Barbarian 115, the special 10th anniversary issue. John Buscema and inked by Ernie Chan for 1980. All right, this is a very fine plus copy at $5. All right, and that is our Conans. If anyone has any questions. Again, we did not have 23. 23 is the first appearance of Red Sonja. So maybe someone's messing with us. Yeah.
No, I think Mr. Brucci is just not watching us.
Oh, that makes sense.
He's just popping in like, oh, if you have this, I'll take it.
Got it. That makes more sense. Yes, right. Okay, real quickly, we're going to blow through these really fast because when I tried to create an entire show based upon talking very in detail about these original issues, I'm not going to bore you. So instead, I'm going to show off some fantasy masterpieces, which were all reprints of the original 1968, 69, 70 Silver Surfer. We do not have a full run, but we have a few of the keys, starting with issue number 1. This is a very fine plus copy at $12. We have issue number 2, first appearance of the Badoon. This is a very fine plus copy at $5. And then we have issue number 3, the first appearance of Mephisto. Again, I'm reiterating, these are all reprints. Oh, thank you very much. This is a very fine plus copy at $10. First appearance. Speaking of John Buscema. Oh, and speaking of the issue that Stan Lee hated at the time because these two brothers, John and Sal, decided that the Marvel style, the Kirby style, was not for them, and they were going to kind of do their own thing. And later, Stan Lee would say it was the best thing he ever did with the Buscemas. And it is one of the most iconic covers. I'm talking about the Silver Surfer number 4, Silver Surfer versus Thor. This copy is a very fine plus copy at $8. And also a very fine plus copy at $8. We have 2 copies of that. There you go. You should buy that and get it framed. And then we have issue number 5, Fantasy Masterpiece number 5, a reprint of Silver Surfer number 5. This is a very fine plus copy at $5. And then we have issue number 6, a very fine plus. In fact, I'm pretty sure the rest of these are all Very Fine Plus at $5. So there we go, Fantasy Masterpiece number 6. And Fantasy Masterpiece number 7, the one where Frankenstein gets turned into Cosmic Frankenstein. $5. And then we got issue number 8, Now Strikes the Ghost, the Flying Dutchman. There we are. Number 8, Very Fine Plus, $5.
Can I get it, number 4?
Yes, a copy of number 4.
A copy.
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
Mr. Quintero.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you.
I don't believe you've purchased from us in the past, so you see a little ticker on the bottom. Just email us at that email, and we'll get you an invoice out. But thank you for checking us out.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Maybe you got football on in the background or something, and just watching us. Because again, all of these books are also for sale. I will get to them in a moment. Let me first quickly mention the books for anyone who did not catch us on our local show. We have a few more recent books. We got the John Tyler Christopher Howard the Duck action figure variant. That is a high grade at $40. We had the West Coast Avengers Mike McCone 1 in 25 variant, high grade, $15. This is the team of Clint, Kate Bishop, Gwenpool, America Chavez, Quentin Quire. Who do you think that is?
All I can think of is the sidekick for Gwenpool.
Oh, you think this is Jeff the Land Shark?
Yes.
Speaking of Jeff the Land Shark, if anyone's curious, we have West Coast Avengers number 7, the first appearance of Jeff the Land Shark, Gwenpool's little sidekick and best friend animal thing. It's a high grade copy at $25. And then, speaking of Gwenpool, we have not her first cover. That is the first appearance technically of her. But we have the first and second appearance of Gwenpool in actual Marvel continuity. This is Howard the Duck, number 1 from 2016, a very fine near mint minus, primarily because there's a little scuffing. This is $40. And then we have Howard the Duck number 2, high grade, second appearance of Gwenpool. This is the Tom Fowler variant cover. All right, and then a couple little horror stuff. We had Chamber of Darkness number 6, a little Marvel Bronze Age horror anthology book. Speaking of Marvel Bronze Age, we had Marvel Team Up number 4, Spider-Man with the original X-Men. That's a very good copy at $14. And then we have a Chris Claremont, John Byrne issue with a Gil Kane cover. Marvel Team Up number 62, Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel Fight the Super Skrull. This is a high-grade copy at $10. And then if you're in the mood for some horror-oriented stuff, we have The Legend of Sleepy Hollow one-shot. This was published by Tundra Publishing in the early 90s. It is the original Washington Irving prose with a beautiful watercolor painted adaptation by Bo Hampton, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. All right, there we go. And thank you for whoever grabbed the West Coast Avengers number 7. Thank you very much. I hope you will one day tell me why Jeff the Land Shark has become such a sought-after character. Okay, so what do we got for time? I don't want to run into the... Okay, we got about 5 minutes before our first break. So let us... actually, before we dive into some Spider-Man stuff, let's first talk about... oh, here's a Marvel Team Up I completely forgot about. This is Marvel Team Up 101. This is Spider-Man teaming up with Nighthawk. This is a very fine plus copy at $4. Who do you think did the cover? If you had to take a guess. Nah.
Frank Miller?
Nah. Though that's funny you mentioned Frank Miller. Something that when I was going through some of these 1979 era Marvel books, I came upon, did you know, I didn't know this until I found this ad, and then I posted it on Instagram, and a bunch of people were like, "You're a dummy. How did you not know this?" But originally Roger Stern and Frank Miller were going to do a Doctor Strange book, and they even but then Frank Miller was in the running to possibly do an adaptation of James Bond.
No, I didn't know that.
Like a License to Kill or whatever was coming out in like 1980 or so like that. It was an adaptation that would later go to Howard Chaykin.
Oh, that was For Your Eyes Only.
Okay, there you go. All right.
That was a great book too. Who's the real star of all this?
I'm just the guy who just lobs you softballs and you just crush them out of the park. But anyway, they went so far as they even had the comic ad. It's this great image of Doctor Strange with Clea and Wong.
Yes.
Illustrated by Frank. Yeah. And then Miller's like, I'm out. I'm doing something else. And I think that ended up going to, because it was Marshall Rogers?
Yes, it went to Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers.
Okay, all right.
And that was a great run.
Yeah, it was fun because that was the second volume, of Doctor Strange, right? Because you had Strange Tales, then you had your Bronze Age, Steve Englehart, Frank Brunner, and then later Englehart and Gene Colan, and then Mark Wolfman.
Well, that was part of the same run.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. Marshall Rogers came in, I think it was like 48.
Okay.
Something around
and
there.
Roger Stern was writing it at that time?
I thought it was Englehart, but maybe it was Roger Stern.
I have a feeling when I looked it up, Roger Stern had talked about it as if he did still write it.
Okay.
It was just the artist that was different.
Okay.
But still, again, especially early 80s Frank Miller doing a Doctor Strange book, that would be pretty cool.
He did something that was close to it, which might have put him in the running to do a Doctor Strange book. In 1980, he did the Amazing Spider-Man annual, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Right. And it's, again, just knocking it out. Yeah, I even think we had that at one point. Did you buy it?
Wasn't me, but it's a gorgeous book.
Yeah. It's funny how I've been doing this now for about a year, and I keep getting this deja vu flashbacks when talking about certain books. I'm like, wait a minute, did we have that? Do we still have it? Did it sell? Did it not sell?
Time is not linear.
Man, you're right about that. All right, so we got a couple minutes before a break. So Al, let us know when we're about to go to break. Obviously, you can see the books. We'll come back. We'll talk about the books. But really, did you have a good time at the New York Comic Con?
I had a great time.
Yeah. Did you primarily do panels? You said.
I did a little bit of both. I did a lot of shopping. I spent entirely too much money.
Okay.
I got a couple books that I had been after from you guys, but I was it was claimed by other people.
Okay.
In particular, Captain America 154 and Avengers Annual #2.
Okay. Avengers Annual #2 was what? Was that the Scarlet Centurion?
Yes, the introduction of Scarlet Centurion.
Okay, that's a good one. And what was the Captain America?
Captain America 154 was part of the run in which Captain America and Bucky from the 1950s were revived, and they were looking for Steve Rogers.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Other than those, any other books you picked up that were a big deal to you?
As far as back issues?
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 113, Amazing Spider-Man 123, which was post-death of Norman Osborn.
Okay.
In fact, that's a great one too. It was Spider-Man versus Luke Cage.
Oh, very cool. Now, were you just filling holes in a?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how in depth is your Amazing Spider-Man run? Do you have a pretty good?
I have a pretty good run.
How?
My earliest issue.
Okay. All right. Number 9, first appearance of
Electro.
Electro. Very cool. All right. And we're gonna. Okay.
We'll come back with Zane.
We'll come back and we'll zane in comic books. Good stuff.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
Actually made the notes. Hey everybody, what's up? We're back. We're hanging out. Real quick, we have some Halloween style bundles. I will get to them in a moment. Up here are all the books that we have already talked about within the past segment. So if you have any questions about Conan, Fantasy Masterpieces, any of the Howard the Duck Wenpool stuff, please just hit us up in the chat. Al will inform me. But for right now, I've been teasing it since the local, and we haven't gotten into it. We have here an interesting little run of Clone Saga era Spider-Man books. All right. So first thing, Ben Reilly is back in the public consciousness because, as many of you probably are already aware, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 75. All right, there we go. Amazing Spider-Man number 75. All right, it just came out this week. Okay, so this issue, we have now learned something's happening with Peter. So for the time being, Ben Reilly is about to become Spider-Man again. So he is, like I said, back in the public consciousness. So interest in books specifically focused on Ben Reilly are kind of, in people's purview. So we have 4 different story arcs, okay? So there was a brief moment, and if anyone's interested, we technically still have Web of Spider-Man 118, which is the first appearance of Ben Reilly as the Scarlet Spider. So soon after that, Peter and MJ, they go off to live their life. Mary Jane is pregnant, and Peter, the clone at the time, goes off with his lovely wife and a possible child to be, and they go to live their life. So Ben Reilly, on the other hand, he stays put in New York to become the Scarlet Spider and to take over as Spider-Man. Now, there was a 2-month period. So as many of you probably are aware, in the mid-90s, there were 4 Spider-Man books: Amazing, Spectacular, Web, and Adjective List, just Spider-Man. So for this 2 months, all 4 of those books were not published. They were just stopped. And they did 2 issues of Amazing Scarlet Spider, Spectacular Scarlet Spider, Web of Scarlet Spider, and Adjective List Scarlet Spider. The creative teams on all 4 of those books just did, so it's like a brief little kind of, pause moment. And you had 2 storylines that came out. The first storyline was Virtual Mortality, and the second storyline was Cyber War. Now, let us not forget, it is the mid-90s. Sandra Bullock has wowed us with her Net movie. We have gotten Keanu Reeves in Johnny Mnemonic. A young, sexy Denzel Washington had just fought this Australian import called Russell Crowe in a little movie called Virtuosity. So America was really obsessed with the idea of the internet. And so for whatever reason, Scarlet Spider fights a bunch of sort of internet-ish storylines. but really it's just a bunch of crummy villains all attacking him. So really quickly, we have the 4 issues of Virtual Mortality. So here we go. Web of Scarlet Spider. Now each of these are pretty much high grades, but they're only $3. All right, there we go. Amazing Scarlet Spider, number 1. Scarlet Spider, number 1. And Spectacular Scarlet Spider-Man, or Scarlet Spider. Man, it becomes a mouthful. Number 1. Now, all 4 of these issues is a complete story. So if anyone is interested in purchasing all 4 books, okay, you can get 4 for the price of 3. So, buy 3 of them, I'll give you the 4th one. So in total, it'll cost you only $9. Not counting tax. So there we go. There's part 4.
Who were the creators on that book?
It would have been J.M. DeMatteis at the time, Howard Mackey. Who else was writing it at that point? You have some early Joe Bennett. People probably know Joe Bennett now as the artist for Immortal Hulk. Last issue of Immortal Hulk, number 50, it comes out this Wednesday for anyone curious about that.
I'll give you a guess. Who claimed all of those?
Is it a gentleman by the name of Mr. Hunter? All right. Well, there you go, buddy. There you go. Well, then you deserve to get buy 3, get 1 free.
Sorry, Mr. Barucci, you missed out.
All right. And then he just claimed those 4, right? Because then I'll talk.
Yeah, he got the 4.
Okay. So then, same thing. Now we got the second storyline, Cyber War. So you get part 1 here. Web of Scarlet Spider, number 2. Amazing Scarlet Spider, number 2. Just plain Scarlet Spider, number 2. And Spectacular Scarlet Spider. Why is it the 4th one where it's just like completely? These are all relatively high grade. They probably fall within that very fine near mint, very fine plus range. All 4 of them are $3. And just like the last one, if you want all 4 of these, you can have them for $9. So there you go. There's part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. All right, next up, okay, at the same time that this was happening, Marvel and the Spider Group, because at the time they referred to themselves as the Spider Group, they wanted to fill in some of the gaps of Ben Reilly on the road, okay? After he had left, thinking that he was the clone, he started to Jack Reacher it and travel around the country and help people out. So the mini-series came out called Spider-Man The Lost Years. The first one was Spider-Man The Lost Years number 0. Now this one, it's 4 different stories, each done by a different creative team. Primarily, each of the writers was the main Spider-Man group writers at the time. So there's all 4 of those. So I lost my train of thought for a split second. All right. So each of these 4 stories sort of is like the first time that, the clone meets the Jackal. It's the first time Peter and Ben meet. It's just sort of like filling in some gaps, okay? So that was issue 0. But then you got the 3-issue, which led into the 3-issue miniseries of Spider-Man The Lost Years, illustrated by my boy John Romita Jr. at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now, again, this is Ben Reilly on the road doing his best version of Jack Reacher, while at the same time dealing with the deformed-ish clone known as Kane. Real quick, did you read any of this at the time in the mid-90s?
It's all news to me.
This is all new. Okay, cool. So, hey, maybe I do still have some value at this. You don't know everything.
No, I do not.
Anyway, so these 3 issues, which again lead out of Spider-Man number 0, they are born from filling in the gaps of Ben Reilly on the road. Okay, so here we have number 1, number 2. There he is fighting Kane, and again, Kane is deformed because his hair is really long and he has a big beard.
Of course, that's always a sign of deformity.
And then you have number 3. Okay, now again, these are all pretty high grade, very fine plus, very fine near mint. It's 4 issues. And once again, I'm going to do it the same way. If you're interested in the whole set, They're $4, so that would normally normally $16. So if you want all 4, it'll only cost you $12. Okay.
I didn't realize that they went all in on Ben Riley like that.
Oh, they went all in. And then the sales numbers and the audience, and then the audience reaction then kind of caught up.
What do you expect?
Yep.
Tatum, were you just not into?
Well, I jumped off the Spider-Man wagon once the Clone Saga became unresolved, so to speak.
Gotcha.
So at what point narratively did you actually was it the moment where they said, no, Ben Riley is absolutely the real Peter Parker?
Yes.
And the Peter Parker. So you were one of the many fans. I even think I was that way too. And usually I like goofy, weird kind of stuff. But I remember at the time being like, nah, not for me. I'm out. You know.
And it made sense. Like it was so convoluted at some point.
Yeah, it got very confusing.
Well, because I mean, the whole again, I've made this joke already on the show many times. I'm pretty sure there's probably a 10-hour YouTube series out there explaining this. But the original story, again, it makes a lot of sense in regards to what Marvel editorial and the 4 writers at the time wanted to do. Peter was married to MJ. Like, you had almost at this point a decade of this relationship, this marital, this marriage and all that kind of stuff. And they felt they were leaving behind a younger audience. And again, comics were entering the rough period at this point. And they wanted to bring back younger readers, and they felt that younger readers could not relate to a Peter that's got a supermodel wife who might have a kid at some point. Again, she got pregnant. They were just like, all right, you know what? What's the best way to not completely pretend like everything that happened up to this point, we don't just wash it all away. We go, wait, let's bring back that clone from the storyline in the 70s that everyone's forgotten about, and let's just do a 6-issue. It's supposed to be a 6-issue a story where they reintroduced the clone. Then the twist is that Peter was actually the clone, and Ben Riley is the real Peter who left. It was all a big mistake. And then Peter goes off, doesn't get divorced, gets to have his supermodel wife, gets a kid, gets the family. You know, everyone's happy, and then Ben Riley is now the young, single, kind of having a lot of doubts, trying to figure everything out. It makes kind of sense until you think about, fandom at that time, especially with addiction to continuity and everything like that. The idea that they had to accept that the Peter that they had been reading at that point for 20 years, they had to accept was not the real. They think was not the real character. So most people felt a little pissed off about it. Yeah,
it's like finding out that Santa Claus is not real.
Yes, there you go. And as we know about a lot of comic book fans, we are a bunch of man babies who sometimes don't like when our dreams, our fantasies are crushed in front of us. Okay, but speaking at the same time that that Lost Years story was going on, which was filling in the gaps for the Ben Riley, not clone, but later was retconned to be the clone. They did another 4-issue miniseries by Fabian Nicieza. Fabian, I apologize. You're not watching, but I screw your last name up all the time. And some pretty early artwork by Derek Robertson, who most people will know from Boys fame. Okay? So this 4-issue miniseries was called Spider-Man: The Final Adventure. And what it technically was is it allowed sort of the epilogue of Peter and MJ going off to live their life. MJ is obviously very pregnant, but there's still a few things Peter has to deal with. That final adventure before he can truly let go of all the Spider-Man bullshit and truly just be the family man that he wants to be. So you got Spider-Man: The Family Adventure, which was Marvel's way of trying to give the fans their cake and eat it too kind of thing. So here we are. And it has some monsters in it, so it feels a little Halloween-y. So here we go. Spider-Man: The Final Adventure. All 4 is a 4-issue limited series. And don't forget, it's the 90s, so you get a little hollow foil and a little chrome. They just couldn't help themselves, I guess.
It was Marvel.
It was Marvel. It was the mid-90s. So all 4 of these issues are pretty high grade. Again, they fall into that very fine near mint, very fine plus kind of category. They're all $4. Here's issue number 1, issue number 2, number 3, and last but not least, number 4, with a very pregnant Mary Jane being like, Peter, can you really let it go? But again, just like the other 3, all 4 of these would retail about $16. But if you want all 4, you can have them tonight for $12.
You know, it was very unfortunate that Marvel would come to an editorial decision like that, because at the time there was a comic strip in the newspaper of Spider-Man in which he was still married to Mary Jane, and it didn't seem like there was much of a problem with it.
See, the crazy thing is, and again, James DeMatteis, Howard Mackie, all the writers that were part of the Spider-Man group at the time, they talked about it. They went to Marvel, they told them their intentions. Marvel went, great idea, amazing, go for it. And they were like, awesome. They get like a few issues into the story, and the rumblings start to happen. You know, the rumors, people are starting to be like, wait a minute, no, Marvel's not going to really say that the Peter we've been reading for the past 20 years is actually the clone from that random Jackal story from the mid-'70s. And Marvel, in their fine wisdom, realized, we might have made a mistake. And instead of just immediately pulling the plug, immediately just taking it back, allowing for a little bit of an embarrassment, maybe the writers get a little pissed with you, I don't know, maybe they quit. A lot of writers were quitting on the X-Men books because, you know, a certain editor wasn't letting anybody do anything other than to keep the Claremont subplots going forever. No, instead, they were like, hey, Spider-Man writers, just keep it going. And then that's when the Clone Saga spun out of control and became like, what, like a 3 or 4 year story?
It was at least a couple years.
It was like 30, 40 issues.
It was
something crazy.
It was insane because the writers were like, we don't have our plan was to just, bye Peter, bye MJ, hello Ben, let's get back to Spider-Man stories. Instead, they're like, we gotta like not wrap it up, we gotta keep it going, because Marvel was convinced at the time, like, no, people they'll get comfortable with the idea. They'll come around to the idea. Come on, they just need a little bit of time to mourn and grieve over the loss of their sweet, sweet Peter.
That's how Saturday Night Live writes their skits.
Where was Jim Shooter when you needed him?
Crashing Valiant into the ground and trying to start Defiant Comics and then later Broadway Comics. Pretty much just crashing a bunch of startups into the ground. Also, again, speaking of our Ben Reilly Spider-Man, soon after, at first he was Scarlet Spider, and then Peter left, and so he was like, well, it's time for me to be Spider-Man, and that's where he got the new costume that didn't hang around for very long, but it's okay, because Ben Reilly Spider-Man had the opportunity to team up with Ponytail Punisher, because, I mean, when you think of the height of 90s comic book, like, just masterpieces, the first thought is, and when I say ponytail, Frank Castle, I'm talking like, it's like a 2-foot ponytail. I mean, like, look.
He's got that Steven Seagal.
Oh, dude, no, you hit the nail on the head. That has to be the inspiration for this version of Frank Castle.
Most definitely.
They were doing Steven Seagal.
You stopped reading Spider-Man because of clones or because of all the nonsense.
Yes.
I stopped reading Punisher because I like his hair.
His haircut was awful. It was like, remember how everyone, remember everyone like turned on Superman because he had a mullet? I was like, I'm not reading a mullet Superman.
Well, in Marvel's case, that might have been wishful thinking. Maybe they were like trying to portray him to be Steven Seagal in hopes of getting Steven Seagal to play the Punisher in the movie.
You mean Fat Punisher? Because I'm pretty sure he got fat by like 94, 95. Anyway, this is the 2-issue limited series Spider-Man Punisher Family Plot. There you go. Each of these issues is a high grade. They're both $4 each, which would be $8. But if anyone wants to purchase both of these, I will give you them both for $6. So we'll take $1 off of each issue.
Can I get the final adventure?
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's just make sure we mark that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Hunter, man.
We'll take care of you.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much, man. All right, so now here's a little 90s and also 60s all in one book. Okay. How familiar were you with the whole Marvel Age?
Oh, I was very
title?
familiar. I still have copies of Marvel Age.
Oh, really?
It was more or less of Marvel bullpens
Okay.
in comic form.
But like sometimes they would have like some reprint stories or some like new material every now and again.
As far as I know, it was just like a lot of news, Marvel news.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
it was a hype book.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. Well, this was no different, okay? So first of all, this is Marvel Age number 104, and this is the Jim Lee hype issue, okay? So you get a Jim Lee cover, of course, a bunch of dudes are staring at scantily clad Psylocke, no surprise there. You also get a bunch of unpublished Jim Lee art, you get some interviews, a bit of a profile. I'm pretty sure this was done maybe a year or two before he skedaddled. So I don't know how happy Marvel was. But the reason I really pulled this book out, okay, we talked a lot about Spider-Man. We've had a few fun jokes about mutants and stuff like that. But in this Marvel Age issue, you do get the reprint from Amazing Adult Fantasy by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Issue number 14. So we're talking what? One issue before Spider-Man?
Yes.
And this is before X-Men, all that stuff. This is the first time in Marvel where they even talked about the concept of a mutant. So again, as it says right there, the first Marvel mutant story ever by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko from Amazing Adult Fantasy number 14. All right. Now, this book is a high grade at $5. So you get some 90s Jim Lee and you get some 60s Lee and Ditko. And everybody's a mutant having a good old time.
Now, if I'm not mistaken,
Please.
during the time in Marvel Age, every month they would have a checklist of the books that were on sale during that given month.
Yep. You know, you hit the nail on the head. It was like a fanzine, except sometimes, okay, all right. And I'm going to do this with the Instagram, especially like around the holiday season, because for a few years, every time Marvel Age, the December issue would come out, the Christmas cover would always be a Gru Christmas cover.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so for about 5 or 6 years, I got them all back there. They're all ready for me to take photos once I got my new phone. And so, like, I guess like every week in December, like, you know, after Thanksgiving leading up to Christmas, I'm going to put out a Marvel Age cover, and it's always Gru and like a Christmassy thing and stuff like that.
In the back of the a few issues, at least for a number of years, they were doing the history of the Marvel Age of comics.
I believe you're right. Yeah. I mean, it was a very neat concept, especially pre-internet or internet as we know it, because nowadays. Oh, what's going on social media? Oh, yeah, here's the checklist of everything that's coming out this week. And, oh, here's a profile and an interview. And what's this random comic book they want me to spend $3 for? And I can just, for free, get, you know how it is. Okay, still sticking in the 90s. Now, this book is sort of like Prophet, as we like to joke earlier on the local show. It is the first appearance of a character that has suddenly come back into the public consciousness. Are you aware of the character of Legacy?
I am not.
All right. Do you recognize that sexy ponytail? Yeah. Has anyone else looked at that cool ponytail? Yeah. What was up with that? Like, especially with like the X-Men characters and stuff. What is the weird? What's that head thing?
It's the Liefeld ponytail.
It's the Liefeld ponytail.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Because first of all, especially a lot of these guys. Okay, I understand the people who can like shoot laser blasts and stuff out of their hand, but a lot of these characters who have like hand-to-hand like Punisher is a great example. I understand he's got a gun and everything, but your ponytail, all somebody has to do is grab that ponytail, and you're screwed.
Like what they do in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, just I'm not allowed to grab the back of their collar. Fine, I'll grab their dreads or their long hair sticking out of their helmet. Anyway, Legacy is back in the news. I mean, I understand why, because, and again, you'll notice there's a couple variant covers where he has popped up recently. I don't see it right now. Anyway, so because supposedly Marvel wants to bring him back into, because, okay, for anyone who doesn't know who this is, he was the son of Captain Marvel, okay? That was the big thing, where they didn't want to bring, like, the original Captain Marvel back because they made some handshake deal with Jim Starlin because
Really?
Well, yeah, because supposedly the death of Captain Marvel, because it was specifically about his father, that they were kind of like trying, by bringing him back, that would somehow be disrespectful. Or something. Maybe I had a dream and I'm making all this up.
They should have had handshake deals with a few characters that they brought back.
Well, let's be honest. I know Frank Miller was quite upset when they brought Elektra back.
Yeah,
they were. And it doesn't matter if she was bald and wearing white. That was still Elektra, and he was pissed. So anyway, so in the 90s, especially when Ron Mars was post Jim Starlin, was writing Silver Surfer. This was what year was this? It would have been 1993. Yeah, 1993. Marvel did that thing. It was at the same time I think DC was doing the Bloodlines annual event.
Okay.
Where each annual was polybagged. This one is not polybagged, which is why it's only $4, okay? Because actually the book has gone up to like a $10, $15 book. Because, again, everyone is convinced not only is he coming back to the Marvel Universe comic books, but you know how the internet is, you know how social media is. They also think that he's going to be introduced in like a MCU movie. They're not. Okay, just so we're clear. All right. This white-haired, ponytailed idiot is not showing back up again. Okay?
That's why it's called speculation.
Yeah, that is why. But again, it doesn't matter because people love to gamble. They like to buy low and all that kind of stuff. And this character during this annual event, so each annual was a first appearance of a brand new character, and so we have here Silver Surfer Annual number 6. The first appearance of the original Captain Marvel's son, Legacy.
I don't like covers with head circulars.
Okay.
They are reminiscent of the Golden Age, and it was never like a big selling point, at least for me.
Okay. All right. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Real quick, that is a very fine copy at $4, and actually the book is in perfect condition. The issue is that there's no polybag and there's no card. So that's a pretty big grade hit, right? We would say, yeah. But if you're looking for just some fun, so a first appearance of a character, and who knows, maybe, I mean, again, look what happened to Ultimate Fallout number 4. It doesn't have to be polybagged to get you a few $100s. Who knows? Maybe Legacy one day, that's going to be a $50, $60, $80, $100 book, even non-polybagged. Yeah.
Mr. Rucci, you got your book. Mr. Hunter, we're going to hit the team ups when we come back from break in a minute. And Mr. Melendez, the Marvel Age went.
Okay.
And we're going to take a quick break.
All right, break time.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
Let's see kind of characters and stuff. Back. Oh, we are back. Okay, all right. Zanin, do a little do the truffle shuffle for everybody. You know, as I slowly throw some books up here.
Well, what I will do is enlighten you a little bit about New York Comic Con.
Okay.
As you know, none of the major publishers showed up at the con this year. DC, Marvel, Dark Horse, IDW, Boom.
Really?
They stayed away from the con.
Completely, huh?
But there were like some intrepid secondary and tertiary publishers who did show up, and props out to them. Scout Comics, Aftershock,
Okay.
and even Xenoscope.
Oh, very cool. Local, right?
Yes.
Xenoscope's from Philly, right?
In the area, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So, props for being brave enough to go to New York Comic Con and have a presence.
All right.
Other than that, the biggest presence were anime companies.
Okay. Nice.
Anime and manga.
So with your Comic Con, okay, so there was a lot of people selling merchandise and things of that nature.
Yes.
Were there a lot of artists and stuff? Like, was
yes.
the Artist Alley pretty big?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And then it was just a lot of panels?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So was there any big news that came out of the con that you were aware of?
Comic book wise? Yes. Yesterday I went to the panel for Brian K. Vaughan.
Okay.
Who is, in fact, that was the best panel I went to.
Any word on his saga ever going to come back out again?
January.
Oh, of next year?
Yes, January 2022, Saga will return.
Because it's got what, I think it's like 3 more arcs and then it's done.
Well, it has 54 more issues, which he's already plotted out.
Okay, so then it's much more than 3. You know, because for a while they were saying it was so like 9 volumes are out right now before they took their hiatus, which was like 2 years ago. And then at one point it was going to be, at most, it was going to be like 12 books. It was going to be like 3 more. So that would have been like, what, 18 issues? But you're now saying it's almost like triple that?
Yes, he said they initiated the hiatus because this is the halfway point of the series. So after 54 issues, there are going to be 54 more for the rest of the series.
That makes more sense. At the time, they were almost making it seem like it was like they were 2/3 of the way through, and now it was just the last third. But I like that more. It's a great book.
But he also he interviewed her name escapes me. His Fiona Staples,
The Artist of Saga, right?
and then the rest of the panel was just the audience interviewing
Just
him.
asking questions and
Yes.
stuff? Okay. Any news about any new projects he's working on?
He could not say,
Okay, that's valid. All right.
but he was very approachable. Displayed the cover of Saga number 50,
Cool.
which is going to be a double-size issue for, I guess, $2.99 or $3.99. It's going to keep the same price value, but it's going to be like double size.
Awesome. That's wonderful to hear. Actually, I'm just excited it's coming back, especially because I can now tell people. Because people will come back and they're like, you recommended Saga to me, and I loved it, and I burned through it all, and now you keep telling me it's coming back, and that was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was like, oh no.
And
A global pandemic happened, people. I mean, things change.
well, he said it was very introspective to him, the pandemic itself.
Okay.
But, the only thing, it just forced him into a condition where he just kept creating.
All right, good for him.
And also a lot of his time was being taken up by the Why the Last Man. Series.
Okay, right. He's like a creative consultant or something like
Yes.
that. Yeah. Have you checked that out yet?
Actually, I did last night. I went to the Why the Last Man panel, and they showed episode 7.
Okay, all right. Episode 7 was, without giving a huge, was it a big event? A big...
Yes.
Okay, all right. Who had read the series and loved the original comic book series, is episode 7 a pretty epic?
Have you watched the television series?
Yeah, no.
It deviates slightly from the comics, and it was with Brian K. Vaughan's blessing,
Okay.
because he said, this is the concept. do what you want with it.
Did it get, I heard the show got more political, like it focuses more.
It's very
because in the comic it was more like they would touch on that stuff. It was a little bit more like a little more social than political, and it would like sometimes flirt with some of the political concepts, but the show seems to really focus a lot.
Yes.
Like Yorick's mother, played by Diane Lane, is a much bigger character.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, do you watch the show?
Yes.
Not all
the episodes.
Do you dig it?
I don't want to say that it's a bad show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a good show, but in my opinion, it's not a great show.
Okay. All right. That's fine. And again, What We Do in the Shadows season 3 is on right now, and I mean, like, am I gonna stop watching that?
That
show's
that's excellent. That's a brilliant show.
Oh, brilliant word for it. It's one of the few things that still brings me like literal joy. You know,
it's actually a show I'll watch in which I'll just like actively laugh at it.
Awesome. Here, keep that in mind. If you haven't mentioned your favorite panel yet, hold on to that. Let me just really quickly, because some people, I hope you are not annoyed by us talking, but I do want to, again, Mike is sitting there going, fellas. So real quick, Marvel Team Up number 4, Spider-Man and the original X-Men. This is a very good copy at $14. Then we have Marvel Team Up number 62, Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel versus the Super Skrull by Chris Claremont and John Byrne with a Gil Kane cover. And then we have Marvel Team Up. Did I say the price? I'm sorry. It was a high grade, very fine near mint at $10. And then Team Up 101, Spider-Man and Nighthawk. This is a very fine plus copy at $4. And again, keep that in mind because I want to first. You said the 30 Days of Night, right, Al?
Yeah, Mr. Williams.
Yes. So we have 2. These were the only bundles I was able to make out of the 30 Days of Night. But hey, it's the Halloween season. It's October, so I wanted to get some books up here that sort of coincide with this beautiful, beautiful season. Now this is 30 Days of Night from 2004. This is the Return to Barrow 6-issue series. Okay, so this is the sequel to the original 30 Days of Night miniseries. So again, this is issue 1 through 6 by Steve Niles and Ben Temple-Smith, who was the original writer and original artist for the first 30 Days of Night series. This retails for around $24, but we have it here for $13, a little scary 13. And then in 2011, they tried to sort of not restart, like reboot, but they kind of wanted to bring back the 30 Days of Night IP book series, all that kind of stuff. So they started just the 30 Days of Night ongoing. But the reason I have the first 4 issues here, which is a complete story arc, is because it is illustrated by one of my favorite comic book artists of all time, Sam Keith. So here you have 30 Days of Night from 2011. This was the ongoing at the time, which was sort of like different story arcs for different characters, all within that area. But this one, what I was so excited about it is because all 4 issues are illustrated by Sam Keith. And also, issue number 2 is a variant cover by Bernie Wrightson. So there we go. Oh, and this retails for around $16, but it's only $6.
Are you
Both of the 30 Days of Night.
All right.
Are you familiar with the movie?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
It was a fine adaptation.
I'm kind of surprised that Steve Niles never does anything else with the entire concept.
I wonder if he even owns it anymore.
Oh, I never thought about
sold
that.
some of the licensing. Again, I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know.
I mean, that was like his IDW, like maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know that was like the book to put IDW on that.
Oh, without a doubt. And again, what a concept. If you don't know what 30 Days of Night is, it's pretty much the town of Barrow is in Alaska.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's that period where for 30 days the sun goes down and doesn't come back up. And a bunch of vampires show up to have, let's say, a 30-day binge.
A winter resort town.
Yeah.
Who was the movie? Was it
Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
See, the problem was it was just,
I remember Josh Hartnett.
it was like, okay, it was like they wanted it's that classic 2 thing. where you have a concept that is brilliant, okay? So all you have to do is just get a bunch of unknowns, go for full practical effects, and just go for like a gory B movie. Like just let it, like almost like a John Carpenter film. That was it. Like they could have got John Carpenter, even though he was in his vampires phase. And when I say vampires, I mean James Woods, the movie where James Wood is in vampires. It's got some moments, but you know. Anyway, but instead they still wanted like the sexy young like 90s kids, and it's not that violent really. Like it's toothless, for no pun intended. You know, but it is. It's toothless. Like for such a brilliant concept, it's just, you know.
I do remember vampires.
Yeah, vampires were definitely in it, you know. All right, real quick, just because we're on it. Again, we will get back to some more panels here, but I just want to. We have these little Halloween sort of themed bundles up here. The one I really want to point out, especially because we've already talked about Steve Gerber tonight, and Al made a really funny Will Portacio joke, not knowing that we have the 2-issue The Legion of Night Prestige Limited Series by Steve Gerber and Will Portacio from 1991. These were actually a bunch of like, was it Kirby and Ditko? But some of these characters were introduced in maybe Strange Tales, like just throwaway characters that then Gerber picked up. It's like a bunch of occult investigators, and they're sort of investigating Marvel occult stuff, and it's a lot of monsters. It's a lot of sexy violence illustrated by Portacio. I personally, this cover was very iconic for me when I was young. I was about 10 or 11 when this book came out, and I remember like this cover like really jumped out at me. But this is the complete 2-issue prestige format limited series, Legion of Night by Steve Gerber and Will Portacio. Retails for $14, but we have it here for $5. Next up, we have in the 90s, my favorite era of a specific era of comics, and that is late 80s to early 2000s Vertigo. That was what maintained my love of the comic book medium when the rest of the industry was crapping the bed in the mid to late 90s.
Well, it was probably the one area in which there was like the most creativity going on.
Yes, they were taking chances, everything. And it really breaks my heart that Vertigo doesn't exist anymore. It just goes to show that the corporate change and shift that has occurred.
It's a corporate decision.
Yeah. Anything we need to deal with? Oh, cool.
I'm gonna take the Legion
of Night.
Legion of Night, and remind me, Mr. Melendez is gonna take some of those fantasy masterpieces.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about those. We'll point them out in a second. But real quick, so a horror anthology series. We actually had an issue illustrated by Alex Toth and Wally Wood from last week. That was the book The Witching Hour. Witching Hour #1 introduced the trinity of witches, the mother, the maiden, and the crone, which Neil Gaiman used in Sandman as the kindly ones. They are 3 characters, sometimes referred to as the 3 fates. Other times they have connections to the goddess Hecate. But in the mid-90s, early 90s and then mid-90s, James Robinson, pre-Starman, and an artist who I love, and it's definitely still alive, but I don't see any work by anymore, Michael Zulli. They did 2 3-issue limited series focusing on these characters called Witchcraft. Now, admittedly, they are sort of like Sandman does. They're peripheral characters, and you have like new characters that get influence and stuff. Either way, if you're not familiar with Michael Zulli's artwork, $7 for all 6 issues of these 2 limited series would be worth it just to check out Zulli's artwork. I mean, these covers are just next level. This dude was amazing. Anyway, this is Witchcraft from 1994, 1-3, and then Witchcraft La Terror 1-3 from 1996. Both of these miniseries, $7 for the entire bundle. And then we get from Dark Horse Comics from 2013 with some Dave Johnson covers, written by Victor Gischler, who is a crime novelist at the time. This is Kiss Me Satan, which is pretty much you get werewolves, you get demons, you get New Orleans cops, and everybody's fighting and everybody's eating each other, and it's just a pulpy horror, just smorgasbord of fun times. Again, this is the 2013 miniseries, all 5 issues. Kiss Me, Satan. Retails for $20. We have it here for $8.
I think the good description is on the back one where it says dog pile. It's
Oh yeah. Again, I flipped through these issues. There's lots of artwork of werewolves and demons literally eating each other, tearing each other into pieces. It's a lot of fun. All right. Speaking of 90s Vertigo, okay, Elaine Lee and the artist William Simpson created a bunch of. I want to feel they were thinking of Near Dark when they made this these characters in the series, but it's a bunch of smoking hot, awesome, badass biker chicks who are also vampires. So you get, this is the very first miniseries of the Vamps from 1994. This is issue 1 through 6. It retails for $18, and we have it on sale here for $6. Plus, you get all beautiful Brian Bolland covers on each of these issues.
I completely forgot about that series until I saw it today.
Until you saw it today. But you're right, dude, the covers alone would like, no offense to William Simpson, you turned out to be a very good artist. I was a young kid at the time, but I remember when I first picked up those Vamps issues, and I was like, yeah, Brian Bolland, I can't wait. And then you read it, and you're like, where's Brian Bolland? It happens. And then you get the second Vamps miniseries referred to as Hollywood in Vine. Get it? Actually, it's Hollywood in Vain, but you know, I wanted to make the reference, make sure everyone knew what I was talking about. But but there's no Brian Bolland anymore. Instead, you get hot off of Hellblazer, and in the process of doing Preacher, all 6 covers are painted by none other than Glenn Fabry. So here we go. Vamps Hollywood in Vain from 1996, issue 1 through 6, complete miniseries. Again, retails for around $18, and we have it tonight for $6. And then, I don't know if they ever popped up again. Obviously, this is only a 3-issue series from 1998, so I guess even Vertigo and DC were like, all right, Elaine and Will, you gotta just wrap it up. And so you get a 3-issue miniseries by the name of Vamps Pumpkin Time. And hey, man, it's October. It's Halloween series. Sounds like pumpkin time to me. But even more importantly, I know a lot of people do not like this artist. Sometimes they refer to his art as ugly. My reaction to them is, you're ugly. But all 3 of these issues, the covers were illustrated by none other than Frank Quitely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, check it out. He also did covers for another sort of sexy vamp book called Bite Club, but I don't think it has anything to do with the Vamps.
I read Bite Club too.
Yeah, Howard Chaykin and Tishman.
Yes.
But Quitely would do the covers. And there's the really awesome, I had a poster in college. Again, I was an 18-year-old, horny boy. But it's the one where it's like she's a half-naked vampire lingerie. But it's really the way he drew it, where the lingerie was a little too tight, so it would like cut into her flesh a little, so it even gave it. I love Quitely, but she's drinking a milk carton and like milk's dripping down. You can't see her breasts obviously because she's like turned away a little bit, but it's like a missing child. Like it's just clever covers. And now from the mid 2000s, let me ask you a question. Did Marvel create the character Simon Garth, the zombie? Was there?
Yes.
When was that?
It was the early 70s.
Early 70s.
They put out a black and white book called Tales of the Zombie.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, but I believe he was introduced in that book.
Okay.
It was a magazine, wasn't it?
Yes,
Like
black and white magazine.
Right. Because that's this character. Okay, so back in the tail end, when Marvel in the early aughts, they had their all-adult line called Max Comics. Kyle Holtz, who was pretty big at like doing sort of scary, monstery books. He did his version of the Simon Garth zombie book. This one is a 4-issue series called just Zombie, and it's a very like 70s kind of Romero zombie movie where they're trying to do a heist In fact, I'm pretty sure Zack Snyder stole this. No, but they're kind of doing a heist, and after succeeding at that heist, they then try to escape, only to find out that there's a zombie apocalypse going on, and they're stuck in like a bank or something, and they have to get out.
That sounds suspiciously close to the movie you just did.
A comic book that came out 15 years ago, and Zack Snyder is notoriously a comic book fan. You wonder sometimes. Anyway, this 4-issue miniseries is only $6, and if you dig it and you want the sequel, well, guess what? The main character ends up becoming a zombie. I guess he doesn't make it out, so instead he becomes a zombie who I guess wants to protect a young girl from the zombie apocalypse. So you get the sequel from 2008, the last gasp of the Max imprint, The Zombie, Simon Garth, issue 1 through 4, complete series. Retails are $16. We have it for $6. Is there a promotion going on out there?
Yeah,
Enlighten? Uh-oh. Fight Club out, people. Zane, aren't you glad you're here?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Rittenhouse Square Fight Club.
Yeah. In fact, wouldn't it be really creepy if there's a zombie apocalypse starting right now and the three of us end up stuck in a comic store together?
Wow, that can only go on for so long.
Who's going first?
Probably me.
Where the basis of the entire plot is which of us is going to turn first because we don't have any food.
That's a great point. Yeah.
We got Sour Patch.
I was going to say, we got some Sour Patch Kids. Maybe we got some nerd ropes still in the back.
I don't eat normally.
Yeah, that's true. So you might be the one first going just because we're afraid you're going to try to eat us. Yeah. All right, real quick, I'm not going to get into a big thing of it because I would hope one day to do an all 90s thing, and at that point we could talk about some Ultraverse books. But again, it's a guy by the name of Lord Pumpkin. It's October, all that good fun. So if you're looking for a little nostalgia, a little weird kind of a gentleman by the name of Danko, who was the writer at the time. I think other stuff. I'm not really familiar off the top of my head right now. But you also get Aaron Lopresti doing some of the art. This is sort of like the what would be this, like Ultraverse's version, like a DC Marvel equivalent. Dormammu, Doctor Strange, but evil. But either way, he's not Pumpkinhead, even though he has a head that is a pumpkin. But it is the 5-issue miniseries called Lord Pumpkin, issue 0 through 4 for $19.94, $5 for the entire bundle. There you go. There you are. So there are our bundles. Now, we got a few more minutes before we go to a break. Also, we have a lot of Defenders here. We'll get to in a little bit, but I'm curious. Did you have a favorite panel that you were able to make?
Oh, it was definitely Brian K. Vaughan.
Oh, so that was your favorite panel?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Other than that, and again, I went to the Why the Last Man panel.
Okay.
And that was rather enlightening. And I was appreciative of the fact that a lot of the panels didn't have most of the creatives that are involved with the programming. But Why the Last Man, and I went to Star Trek Discovery. They did have all the creatives and cast there.
Very cool. Now, have you watched Star Trek Discovery?
Yes.
Okay. You enjoy it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the few, that and Lower Decks. I'm not a big Star Trek guy per se, except for a couple movies. Wrath of Khan. I got a lot of daddy issues wrapped up in that IP. But I do really like Lower Decks and Discovery. That definitely kind of, I know some hardcore Star Trek fans are very upset by that idea. In fact, my favorite there was an episode of Lower Decks, not this past week, but the week before. It's a bunch of holodeck kind of insanity and stuff like that. And there's an image where a bunch of the characters are like nude, showing off their like buttholes or something like that. And the internet like freaked out. And so they would like post on like Twitter and stuff, all of this like profane image from the show, from the episode. And they'd be like, you remember when Star Trek was like a serious sci-fi show? But here's where it gets the best. And this is when the few times with the social media is a lot of fun. Because every response to that original like high road in Star Trek used to be serious thing was images from like the original series, Next Generation, of just the most absurdist, just comical. I mean, there's an image of Spock holding what is obviously a dog with a lion mane glued on and like a unicorn thing glued on. Everyone's like, remember when Star Trek was serious? or the whole entire music video of of Spock, I don't know, getting high and playing like a sitar with like a bunch of hippie jam band. I mean,
yes, this Space Hippies episode.
The Space Hippies episode. So again, anyone who crawls up your own ass and you think everything's got to be as serious as you are, never forget, even the thing you love the most is in and of itself a little dumb, a little absurd, a little goofy. And again, life is always better when we're able to laugh at ourselves a bit.
There aren't any more sacred cows.
Well, what did Abby Hoffman said? The best hamburgers are made out of sacred cows. Yeah. I said that one time, and a vegetarian yelled at me, and I was like, "It's just a metaphor. It's just a metaphor. That's it." With that said, do we want to go to break and then just do a full?
It's a little early, but
it is a little early.
Jerry, if you want to break this, we'll break now and then come back in a minute.
Yeah, Jerry, if you want to break now, let's just do that, and then we'll just finish it off, and we'll try not to go too long like we've done the past few weeks.
It looks like Jerry wants to break.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
We're back! Yay! It's Halloween season!
Trick or treat.
We gotta hurry up and purge after this.
Yeah. Hey man, you look outside right now. I feel it feels like we're in a purge period. Yeah,
What's going on now?
yeah, it's happening. Yeah. We can only be so lucky that it'd be zombie apocalypse. No, it's just gonna be Philly's version of a purge.
Hey, in Philadelphia, the purge is all year.
All year round. That's right. Yeah. Some people came up from Dallas, like in the shop the other day, and they were like, I thought Philly was gonna be a lot scarier. It's been a lot of really fun, and like people have been really nice and stuff. And I was like, what do you want me to tell you, dude?
Tell them to put on some Cowboys gear.
Actually, it's funny you say that because the dude was wearing a Cowboys hoodie, and at first I was like, what a poser. And then they're like, we're from Dallas. So I was like, all right, you're allowed.
And you should have reached behind the counter and got a baseball bat.
Like,
oh, Dallas, huh?
Philly, y'all.
Hey, why don't you take that jersey out to Bridget Bratz?
All right, everybody, this is our last segment. I guess to make Jerry's life a lot easier, do we want to pay better attention to the time?
Yeah, no, we'll take care of you, Jerry.
All right, yeah, we'll try. Maybe we can even end it in like a minute or two, even earlier.
We'll cut a little early. We got Zane in here. We'll
get him home
from Comic-Con real quick, and then that'll close out.
Yeah. But just in case, we do have some more bundles here. So if anyone's curious, back in the late 90s, DC did an anthology series called The Legends of the DC Universe, done by all these different creative teams. And usually they were about 2 to 3 issue stories focusing on 1 or 2 characters. Sometimes it'd be a one-shot. A bunch of bundles here that most of them are all 2 complete story arcs. If anyone's curious, we'll do those. Also, something I was not aware of, but back in 2000, the artist Gary Frank, he did a 6-issue Top Cow series called Kin. If you like Gary Frank's art, you'll love it. The story, I didn't have enough time to read it, but there's like sort of a caveman and a woman who shot him accidentally. It's the whole thing. Also, we have a 6-issue mini series called Cosmic Powers. That was something where was Ron Mars doing it at the time? We had Silver Surfer, 1995. It was a 5-issue mini series. I'm sorry. And you had Silver Surfer, Thanos, Adam Warlock, Beta Ray Bill, different Galactus, Heralds, all that kind of stuff.
Is that a Henry bundle?
It is a Henry bundle.
It is a
yes.
Shout out to Henry. He probably not watching.
Probably not anymore.
Shout out to Henry.
Yeah. Instead, no, he should have been here. He should have been here all weekend, where he sat there and listened to some kind of like a class or study on American economics. So all you hear, you walk into a comic book store and some guy's like 2% interest. Why would we do 2%? Lord, man, what is happening here? But it's not Rob Liefeld, but it is Will Sportasio and Scott Lobdell and Jim Lee. We have 2 bundles that are the complete story of the Heroes Reborn Iron Man book. The only issues that are missing from that 13-issue run are the back-end issues that are crossover with the other 3 books. And we also have a bundle by Peter Tomasi and Peter Schneeberg, or however you pronounce it, called Light Brigade, where a bunch of soldiers in World War II end up fighting angels and Nazi mysticism and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty wild. It's cool. So those are some of the bundles we have up there. If anyone is curious about them, let us know in the chat. I will kind of move over, show them to you. Also, we have here, now, these aren't a lot of the big keys. We've already gone through a good amount of them. This is a bunch of Defenders issues. Most of them are, like, a couple of these are like 8, 12, 10, 9, 5, but most of them are in the $4 to $3 range. You do get some fun storylines where Moon Knight was on the team for a period of time. They fight the Zodiac.
That was a great issue.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Issue number 48.
Yeah.
What is the secret of Scorpio? Yes. Yeah. You even get some issues where they go to Asgard and they help Valkyrie fight a bunch of Asgardians. You get the return of Doctor Strange to the Defenders. You get the return of Namor and Hulk joining the Defenders. You get more Gil Kane drawing Namor and Hulk fighting each other. Probably, if there were two characters that should have been brothers, it's Namor and Hulk. Because I've never watched two grown men beat each other up more than a bunch of drunk, grown brothers beating each other up.
Well, it was always a case of Namor trying to manipulate the Hulk into doing something.
Yep, always.
These bottom issues are kind of great.
Sure, here, Zanin, please.
Yeah.
This is your
right here.
tryout.
This is when they fought Magneto in the Evil Brotherhood of Mutants.
Show it off to the folks at home.
Come on, man, you're on the clock.
Yeah.
And number 16. And number 16 is infamous because this is the issue in which, at the end, the resolution is Magneto is turned into a baby.
Oh, that's that one.
Yes.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
And then it was through the with the idea that he would be raised a different way, not to be evil.
Ah, I gotcha. That didn't work out, did it?
Not so much.
Not so much. If anyone's curious, Mr. Oz, you're probably not watching, but you get Zenmu, and the Hulk fighting again. The Titan strikes again. Also, a lot of really cool Gil Kane covers in this little run here. Before we miss out, this was an issue that you were interested in. Now, this isn't in as good a condition.
Actually, that's very good condition right there.
Yeah, but
at least for the cover.
But not as good as the one you.
Of course not.
That was the stone cold. But this is Avengers issue number 98. This is a Fine Plus copy at $25. Zanin, why did you purchase this issue?
It was an issue that I had as a child. Did not have a cover, and I never replaced it until a couple weeks ago. But that is the epilogue to the Kree Skull War.
Okay. Now, did Barry Windsor Smith illustrate? Yes, that was during that period and stuff like that.
It's a beautiful interior. That's when he was at his highest level.
Cool.
At least for Marvel Comics.
Nice. This is a fun one. Not super key. There's no first appearances or anything, but this is Avengers number 61. This is where the Blue Mask Doctor Strange teams up with the rest of the Avengers to go fight Frost Giants and Fire Giants, and it gets very mystical. But this is a very good plus copy at $18.
That's a great issue too.
Yeah, I like the cover.
It's a great splash illustration by Buscema.
Yeah, and this is Buscema on the cover too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. John, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, there we go. Real quick, do you know, or is like Wallywood, or like, I swear, some of these astonishing tales, Windsor Smith, this is issue number 4, Kazar and Dr. Doom?
Actually, that was after Wallywood. Wallywood only did the first 3 issues.
All right. Do you think Barry Windsor Smith, this is a Fine Mimes copy at $10. It feels like.
I'm not. Are you sure?
Yeah. Come on. This is the last segment, man.
Folks, I apologize in advance for what I'm about.
Fools Bard. All right. And then we have Astonishing Tales number 10. Now, this is full Kazar at this point. This is a Fine Plus copy at $8. All right. There we go. Good stuff. All right. So we got a good 15 minutes. So
it looks like a Sal Buscema cover.
Definitely looks like that his cover, but.
Yes, it is Barry Windsor Smith.
Here we go. Who does the Dr. Doom? Oh, Dr. Doom's fighting the Red Skull. Wallywood! I knew it! Yeah! I got one over on you, Zayden!
I might have to purchase this.
Look at that. That's the Wallywood doing some Dr. Doom. Nice. I love it. Yeah, I mean, what a combo.
Purchase this.
Hey, man, it's yours if you want it. I mean, it's one of the perks of being here live.
I don't want to slide anybody else in the chat.
It's okay. No one's buying anymore.
If it's still there by the end of the show, I'll take it.
Okay.
Especially since I have my fingers all over it.
Yeah. Nah, it's all good.
Why don't you get that table? You're fine.
Yeah, you all right? Do you need help?
Yes.
All right. All right, we'll get the Al, did you already take care of the fantasy masterpieces for Mr. Melendez?
I did. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
so we're good on that. But if you want to go over those again,
Nah, just curious. Yeah. Why is this having difficulty getting that guy?
it's one of the tight ass bags.
Is it?
I think it's a bag made for a modern age book.
Yeah, the bags we get now are everything's jacked up with supplies.
Oh,
Like
God, yeah.
some of the bag, like we couldn't even get a book in one of the bags the other day.
Oh,
It
really?
was so tight. It was crazy. Like it was gonna rip the bag. It was ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, is right. Yeah. Let's think. Any curious comments about any of these Defenders issues?
No, everybody's good.
All right.
I mean, if anybody sees anything you want to claim, you know how to do it. You know the score. If you're watching this tomorrow,
Yeah.
which is, you know what I mean, just hit us up in the email.
FJCCshow@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Also, check out our Instagram, the FJC Paradox.
At the FJC.
This run is kind of interesting.
Okay.
This Green Arrow, Green Lantern team up takes place during their hard traveling heroes days.
Okay.
They both go to Vietnam.
Oh, this is that
Yes.
issue. Okay.
Who did the art on that?
This is Denny O'Neil, and do you think this is early Greg Land? It's Land. Says Land, and Dick Giordano.
Might be.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Oh, you also get in this issue. So that's the 3 issues. That's Legends of the DCU issue 7, 8, and 9. But you also get this one shot, which is Legends of the DC Universe: Crisis on Infinite Earths: The Untold Story by Marv Wolfman and Paul Ryan, who I think at the time was doing Fantastic Four. Yeah. Oh, look at this awesome Steve the Rude Dude. Look at that cover.
That's Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen.
Yep, and you got Guardian, and who was the weird goat telepath?
Dubalex.
Dubalex. There you go, Dubalex. And speaking of Michael Zulli, let's talk. Oh no, this is Kaluta. Yeah, that's Kaluta. Kaluta. That is the Kid Flash and Raven one shot, and you also get Haben Sir.
Yes.
Was the original? Yeah, him in the Old West. There you go. Marv Wolfman, Butch Guys.
So Mr. Quintero, just let us know which Legends bundle you want. We have more than one.
Yeah, please. So right now we have a Superman and a Wonder Woman bundle.
That's Steve Rude.
Yep, that's Steve Roosevelt. Yeah, that's a really beautiful Steve Rude Wonder Woman. And then we have the Arrow Green Lantern with the Crisis. And we have young Barbara Gordon Batgirl with Flash, Green Lantern, and Hawkman. And then we got Superman and his pals and some Flash. And then the Kid Flash and Raven and the original Alien Green Lantern. And then some more gorgeous Steve Rude. 2 issues of Steve the Rude Dude fighting some demons.
Actually, that's from Fourth World.
And then that is a one-shot. What is from Fourth World? This stuff?
Yeah.
Sure looks like Kirby-ish.
Yeah, that was it Transylvania? Something to that effect? And Jimmy Olsen?
Well, there was a weird character who looked like he was running around with like a taser like that. And he had like goggles.
Okay.
It's just like, who's that character?
It's been years.
Yeah.
Newsboy, one of those kids.
No,
One of them work
he looked dumber. Yeah, he looked. Yeah, Newsboys.
Oh, you want all? Okay. Mr. Quintero, taking them all.
Oh, all right, cool beans. Actually, wait. All right,
Good deal.
we do have one other one that I forgot to mention, but I'm not going to assume that you want this. Oh, and they're all like, really affordable. They're like $5 or $6. You're getting like. When it comes to the bundles, you'll notice, except for very few exceptions, you're usually getting these books for less than 50%. But I did forget to mention, we did have one more bundle. This was the Joker, Aquaman, Batman 2-parter, and a little throwback to last week, the Atom fighting Kronos. But the thing is kind of neat. They're all done by Steve Englehart.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This was Faber? I'm not as familiar. But all the covers of these issues are done by Tony Harris, who is an artist. Like, I kind of miss. I just don't see him as much anymore. Like I said, this was the Gary Frank, this thing Kin. That dude's a caveman, but he's got like a Rob Liefeld costume or something. I don't know. And then, like I said, there was our Cosmic Powers Unlimited, the 5-issue miniseries. Oh yeah, Quasar. I forgot Quasar. He was in the mix. Yeah. And then, like I said, these were the Heroes Reborn when Marvel was going through bankruptcy and licensed out their biggest characters to their biggest betrayers. Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee. This is the Iron Man, illustrated by Will Sportacio, written by Scott Lobdell and Jim Lee. Later, you got Ryan Benjamin on the book, but Sportacio kept doing the covers. This is issue 7. And then when Iron Man fought Dr. Doom. Good stuff. And then, like I said, this was a personal favorite. If you like war books and you like supernatural demons and angels and stuff like that, Light Brigade is cool. Plus, if you like magical Nazis getting their ass handed to them, and as we definitely established on this show, we love Nazis getting their asses handed to them. No matter if you're the old version or the new version. So Light Brigade, 4-issue prestige format series, retails for about $24, and we got it for 10. Again, looking for a little fun, supernatural, Halloween-y stuff. That's your bag. All right, so we have about like 5-ish or so minutes. So if anyone has any questions, you want to see some other books we have, let me know. Yeah.
Real quick, the links to all my shows are in the Facebook, and then we're doing a show next week, right? And anything you say you want to claim, hit us up, Mr. Quintero. If you could give me your contact information, and I'll turn it over to Zanin for the last 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Let's hear what you have to say. Yeah. Everybody in the world is watching.
I mean, did we plumb the depths of your experience at the New York Comic Con, or do you got
anything you want to throw out there? Any new books you're excited about? Anything you want to talk about?
Anything. In fact, this is the 0 issue of the ongoing series on the internet that is about to explode.
You never know.
And we could say we're the ones who discovered Zanin.
Speaking of discovery, I want to thank Zanin for showing up on Indigenous Peoples Eve. I actually got wished an Indigenous Peoples Day today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, first time that ever happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Like randomly, or?
I was leaving the shop. She was like, well, have a happy Indigenous. And I'm like, oh, you're not being sarcastic at all.
No.
Sometimes people just throw it in there and they're like,
yeah. Because they want to see if you're into it. Like the time I said happy holidays and the woman like crawled down my throat.
No, that's a Philadelphia thing.
I guess.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you, there's a few bumper stickers on like that I get really like red. Like I get like, the Kill Bill kind of like, hey, keep Christ in Christmas, man. I'm like, he's in Christmas, people. Stop. There's no war. Stop. Oh, man. Everyone. Anyway.
Well, Al, the fact that you were wished Happy Indigenous Day Eve means that, at least in this city, we progressed a little bit.
There you go. I got wished a happy Columbus Day a couple of years ago, and they were like, "Oh, do you have off?" And I was like, "Is that even an holiday anymore? Like, who has off for that but elementary school kids?"
Yes.
And I don't even think they do it anymore.
Maybe
it's
about time for Columbus to have a horror movie based on it.
You're right. In fact, I wanted to ask you, did you get around to seeing The Many Saints in Newark?
Yes, I did.
Okay, keep that because I was thinking about how The Sopranos is probably one of the greatest works of art that America has ever produced.
One of them.
But one of the very few episodes that I'm not really into is the Columbus Day episode.
Okay.
Where they get into the fight with the indigenous people. I don't know. There's something about that. That was
just a statement by David Chase.
No, I get it. And in 1997, it was a statement that kind of needed to be made. But going back and rewatching it, it's kind of clunky. But did you enjoy the movie?
To a certain extent, yes. There were some things I had a slight problem with. I don't want to give away any spoilers.
Many Saints of Newark,
who haven't seen the film.
Sopranos prequel.
Did you find it? You didn't find it unnecessary. You thought it was a good Did you feel it's justified in being made, or do you think they're like cashing it?
It was a little bit of both, and I always look at this from a creator standpoint. Some things could be presented in a different way to make it a little bit more engaging.
Okay.
But again, that's David Chase's thing.
Yeah.
There were sections of the film that seemed like there was like scenes missing.
Okay.
You know, between characters as far as like the development went.
Okay.
Between Dickie's mistress and Harold getting together. Like it was just like out of left field. It was like a sequence in Kill or Be Killed when he like sleeps with his ex-girlfriend again, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this happened too."
It did it again. It shook when he left. Hey, whenever the frame shakes, you know we're having a good time because Zanin's laughing.
Let me ask you this: like, all right, in your Sopranos canon, will the movie make it into that? As far as like, if you ever rewatch it, or
yes.
you just like you kind of watch
yes,
it?
I accept it for what it is.
Okay.
I heard Dick Moltisanti comes out like a really interesting character
In the movie or in the series?
in the movie.
Have you seen the movie?
No, not yet. I haven't had the opportunity.
Who's Dickie Molt? That's Christopher.
That's Christopher's father.
And in fact, it's more or less a case of Dickie Moltisanti. He had a lot of like, he wanted to be a good person.
Okay.
And starting out, he does some very reprehensible things. I won't give that away. But he goes to someone for redemption. And the movie is supposed to be his redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sopranos, so it probably doesn't
Yes.
end well for anybody.
no, it does not.
No spoiler. I haven't seen it, but I'm just making an educated guess.
The movie's more about him than anybody else.
Yes.
No, that's all it's about. It was the marketing department that did all of the like Young Tony stuff because that's what people know. But David Chase was adamant. He's like, it's not Young Tony's movie.
Yeah, and I think anybody who goes into seeing that film think that
They're gonna be disappointed.
yeah, you have to have an open mind, and you're just there to watch a good story, more or less.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, do you think Tony got killed at the end?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm beyond convinced.
Thanks a lot.
Again, I've had this argument. There was a period where I was open to the ambiguity. I was open to that. But about a year or two ago, I did a full rewatch again. And when I got to the very end, I was like, it's not ambiguous. The only ambiguity is who in the diner shot him. But like David Chase, the way he uses cinematic film language, he constantly clues you in that is exactly what happens at the very end.
When you watch The Many Saints of Newark, you will get an inkling as far as like what leads to that and who is responsible.
Oh, so there is a little like they pick up a kernel of it?
You would have to really know the series and be observant.
Because I think
it's
I think it's his own family finally wrote. It's not New York.
Ben Riley.
Yeah. On that note, is it?
We got like 2 minutes.
We got 2 minutes.
We got like 2 minutes left.
The only other thing I'll say is Comic-Con was great. I'm appreciative of the fact Pop actually put this together, just to signify to people that, we all need to come back together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be the way that it used to be. Society has changed, and this is the way that we adapt.
Were you, as a consumer, like, were you comfortable? Because you're fairly cautious for COVID. I mean, you're not,
Yes.
You weren't out like bitching about haircuts. Were you comfortable being in the Javits Center, like as far as the precautions they took? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was. You had to remain masked at all times.
Okay.
And everybody, they were checked.
Was vaccinated. Yeah. That was a mandate.
So you're basically in an enclosed environment with believers of science, which is very gratifying.
Which is unusual.
And to everybody else who couldn't come around and agree to it, it's very unfortunate, but this is the way that we move ahead as a society.
I hope, man.
It was good.
I hope. And on that optimistic note, right?
And even Repop announced there will be a New York Comic-Con in 2022.
Okay. All right. Hopefully we'll, yeah.
Well, hopefully Marvel and DC and Dark Horse, they'll come around too.
Yeah.
And get their employees vaccinated.
Were they not? See, I didn't. All right. Well, we'll get to it. Doesn't matter.
I guess. Yeah. Let's not screw over Jerry. Let's say, Zanin, thank you so much for hanging out with us, man.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Please. And again, you're always welcome back. You probably won't come back because you probably have greener grass just right out there on the horizon.
Well, maybe around Christmas.
Do you have off for Martin Luther King Day?
You mean Indigenous Peoples Day?
Well, that's the next bank holiday, I think.
Okay, all right.
Oh, Martin Luther King Day?
I believe it's like January.
Yes.
something like that.
CBS has declared that to be a holiday, in fact, this year.
Okay, so maybe we'll get you back sooner,
Yes.
not too. All right, excellent. Because I know most of our audience appreciates when you show up because it takes away from the let's say bitchiness of me and the eye rolling of Al.
Well,
everything's so much more optimistic when Satan's around.
By the time we get to the holidays, we may be showing up on your show.
Yes, that's actually a really good point.
Maybe you can fit us
If you
in.
could fit us in. With that said, we will have a show next week as well. You can find us from 4:30 to almost 6 o'clock on our Fatjack's Comicrypt Facebook page. We'll also be back here on The Experience from 6 to 8 next Sunday.
Links to Mike's shows on the Facebook page.
Links to Mike's show.
You guys know it. You know the times.
And as always, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. I would babble on even more to tell you how much we love you, but Jerry probably wants us to get off.
Be safe,
So
folks.
take care, be well, more love than hate, people. Jerry, take it away. Peace.